As I have said many times in the past, my family was poor. So as I began to think about chopping wood and carrying water, literally, figuratively, and spiritually, I've begun to see a lot of the good, as well as the inequality in our circumstances. But I'm beginning to recall more and more of that good more often now. On hot summer days when we worked in the fields, sometimes the clouds would just fill with moisture and it would begin to rain. We wished for that because we could go to the house and rest. So I just loved it. But more than that, not just the rainstorm, I loved the thunderstorms. Now that meant that we had to be quiet. There were 8 kids in my family, a mother and father, so there were 10 of us in the house. But when it thundered and lightning occurred, we had to be quiet because God was doing his work. And at that time, that's the way we said it. We were Baptist. So God was doing its work. So we would lie, my mom would put quilts on the floor, quilts that she made by hand. And we would lie down on the quilts. And I loved that time because we could drift off. We could take a nap. It is that state that I reach for now when I meditate. So this took us beyond that current experience. Today, my friends don't understand why I love thunder and lightning. But this is the other side of chopping wood and carrying water. So let me explain a little about carrying water and what that entails. You've seen movies where people carry buckets of water from a nearby lake or stream, and they take it to the homes and the huts in these little villages. Well, it just doesn't happen just in other countries. It happens right here in America. We had pumps, and these pumps could be quite a ways from the house. When we finally got a house that had a pump in the kitchen, oh my God, it was like I had died and gone to heaven. It was amazing. But now, when you go to a pump to pump water, you just don't start pumping. You have to prime the pump. And that means that, so in your pail, you would have a little water so that you could pour into the pump so that you could start the water to flow. So it just takes a little bit of faith now. When we go within with a little bit of faith to begin with. And that stays in this flow as we begin to talk to God. When times get a little tougher than we expect them to be, we have to prime that pump. When we are faithful in the small things, that gives us strength. So, read those spiritual books. Take a class. Learn to pray affirmatively. Meditate. Journal. Smile. Forgive. Just chop wood and carry water. So in the book, Chop Wood and Carry Water, the book is really designed not just about the mundane things in life, but it propels us to greatness. That's what the author was trying to do. Greatness is defined by you, for you. So greatness for me is different from greatness for Karen, greatness for anyone else here in the audience. Retaining your driver's license at 90 years of age could be your greatness. Winning the Super Bowl, becoming a school teacher, being free with a capital F, So define your own greatness for yourself. It is yours to do. The author of the book is Joshua Metcalf. He uses an extended parable as a means of transmitting his view of the warrior mindset in this book, Chop Wood, Carry Water. This is a parable that he goes through using a child named John. John and his brother Jordan were just obsessed with samurai. They devoured everything they could find on being a samurai. They read everything, that one day they would be able to use this bow and arrow. But Jordan could not go on the journey. John was the one who embarked on this quest to become a samurai, and he did it all alone. In Japan, John arrived at this samurai archery training ground, and he met his instructor, Akira, who informed him on the first day. He thought he was going to start with the bow and arrow at the very, very beginning. And his mentor said, "You are going today, chop wood and carry water." Now, he was not happy. But he listened to his sensei, and that's his mentor, Sensei, his sensei. He listened to the advice. He was determined to become a samurai. Through the extended parable, the author offers us bite-sized lessons on reframing your mindset away from goals and being goal-oriented to going on a mission and having that mission as your life's work. So the narrative forces the fictional character John to revise his Western outlook on success and to begin to view his daily task, including chopping wood and carrying water, as vital training for a warrior mindset. So that's what we have to do. So the mundane can become holy. It allows us to be mindful and be filled with gratitude. Just be present. Karen talked about that this morning. Chopping wood and carrying water builds muscles, physical and spiritually. As you chop wood, maybe yours is walking 10,000 steps a day. We have to know that there is one power and one presence and one life. The living spirit is right where I am all the time. It is within, around, and through me. I walk those 10,000 steps every day in step with the Almighty. As this book goes on, we share a story with John about an architect. So the mentor tells John that there was an architect, and this architect had worked at this company for years and years, had built fabulous houses, just great places for families to live. But he was tired now, and he wanted to retire. So the boss came to him and said, "We want you to just build one more house, just one more." And the architect was tired. He had given his all to this company. So he accepted that one last house to build, but he did a very shoddy job. He didn't build this house up to his standards. He just did just enough to get by. And then he said the house is ready. And his boss came up to him and said, we have a last gift for you. Gave him the keys to the house. So he failed to realize that he was building his own house. So that's what we have to remember today. We are building our own future. So no matter what you're doing, what your mission is, we're building our own future, our own house. So we're encouraged to view all of our tasks in life, the mundane ones, the big ones. We're just encouraged to do our best work every day. So what does your future look like? What building blocks are you using? According to Ernest Holmes is the founder of our spiritual movement. The possibility of demonstrating does not depend upon environment, conditions, location, personality, or opportunity. It depends upon me. It depends upon you and nothing else. The universe will never deny us anything when we use our spiritual powers correctly. When we use spirit correctly, we can do anything. We can have any life that we want to have. Everyone who asks receives according to her or his beliefs. So our prayers are answered according to our beliefs. Sometimes we look around and we're jealous of someone because they have this great house on the hill, or they have this beautiful car, or anything else that we might be jealous of. But they are demonstrating according to the way they believe. We can do the same according to the way we believe. So when we are doing the work of building the life we desire, building the family we want, building the community that we love, realize that there's just one infinite mind, and it is consciously directing our destiny. Ernest Holmes wrote that we should read, study, think, pray, meditate upon statements which tend to calm, to give pause and confidence, and erase all thought of fear and tension. We live in a sea of perfect life. We are in a sea of untroubled waters from which we may drink. But we must do the drinking. Untroubled waters. Later in the book, Akira, the mentor, discusses the importance of working every day toward greatness. That's what the book is all about, working toward greatness. And abandoning goals by focusing on our mission. John wants to compete with a classmate who's working faster and doing better than he is. He can shoot the bow better. So Akira takes John aside and asks him to challenge himself in his training, but also to speak to himself gently and with intention, avoiding competition with his peers and trying to retain gratefulness and to focus on the process. So speak to yourself gently. Isn't it amazing sometimes how we speak to ourselves? Be grateful. From the gentleness, the gratitude and grace, learn to fall in love with the process of becoming great. And as you do, continue to chop wood and carry water. My fathers and brothers chopped wood for cooking and heating our house. My mom cooked the most delicious meals on that wood stove. She did it for many years before we finally got a gas stove. How did my mother, and I still don't understand how she controlled the temperature to bake that chicken and those cakes and pies and all of that delicious food. She was gentle and she was firm in the process. She had confidence in her ability to cook good meals for her family, and she did it with kindness and grace and precision. It never failed. I don't know how she did it. So how do we become great? What do you watch? What do you read? What do you listen to? Who are the people that you surround yourself with? How do you talk to yourself? What do you vision or visualize? Chopping wood and carrying water is the price of admission for the opportunity to reach sustained excellence. Like the roots of a bamboo tree, it is sometimes a long process because the growth in the beginning is invisible. Colleen Tanaka told a story about bamboo in the last class I took from her. She said that there was a farmer named Patience. And everybody in the neighborhood raised some of the same crops, corn, wheat, some of the same crops. But Patience decided that she wanted to grow bamboo. Now, you know that bamboo takes a long time to grow. So she planted all her fields with bamboo. No cutting back here. She went all in. The entire farm, hundreds of acres, bamboo. And she just started watering the earth. The first year, nothing. Second year, she just continued to water the earth. Nothing. Not a sprout, not a blossom, nothing. Farmers in the neighborhood began to talk and look at her kind of, you know how we do. Third year, finally, they began to see some buds coming up. And within weeks, sometimes these things would grow like 6 feet. It was just miraculous. She supported her family for generations with the proceeds of bamboo that she had the patience to wait for. So continue to build your foundation by chopping wood and carrying water every day. So let us pray. I'm going to ask the practitioners to join us around the room. And as the practitioners are coming forth, we're also joining in prayer with all the Catholics and the entire world to mourn the loss of Pope Francis. So God is all the great things that you can imagine. God is the creator of everything. Look around. Look at all the beauty. God is the creator. Our mountains, flowers, trees. This is that time of the year that we see the beautiful flowers. God is that creator. And because we are one with this awesome power, we create our lives, we create our homes, our communities. We're one with this creative energy that is ours to use. So I speak my word now. I declare the beauty as I build my house. I live in the presence, standing on holy ground, realizing that God is always where I am. I surrender to giving my very best, treating people well, expressing unconditional love. I'm so grateful. As I see what love does for this earth, as I see beauty, as I see joy, as I see abundance. Every day I build my house with intelligence, creativity, and joy. I rest in the arms of the Almighty. I am so grateful. I am so grateful. I release this prayer, these blessings. I release them into the universe. It is done, and so it is.